Okay. All right. Tell me, give a thumbs up whenever you're ready, Cole. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Andy, and I'm really excited that y'all are giving me some of your time today. It's going to be really quick. I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about what's going on right now in Venezuela. I want to start off with telling you guys a story about this lady right here. Her name is Jasmina, and she's a single mother of 4 children, as you can see. These are her 4 children in the picture, and she is from Venezuela. But right now, Venezuela is in a really tragic state. They have had 7.7 million people leave, and they're all refugees fleeing Venezuela since 2014. And Miss Jasmina and her 4 children are one of those people. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about her story, and just to kind of give you guys an insight about how what's going on right now in Venezuela is affecting people. So she had to cross through 3 countries. She went from Venezuela to Peru and Colombia, and then to Panama. And when she went from Colombia to Panama, she had to pass through the Darien Gap. And the Darien Gap is one of the most dangerous things for refugees right now. And you may be thinking, why are you telling us about the Darien Gap when it's not even in Venezuela? Because there's hundreds of thousands of people crossing the Darien Gap every year, and the vast majority of those people are from Venezuela seeking asylum in other countries. So it's 60 miles of rainforest, swamp, and mountains, and it's filled with gangs and cartels. Very dangerous. And one expert on the issue said that murder, rape, and robbery deep in the jungle are just as common as the crocodiles, the venomous snakes, and the landslides that are caused. And the landslides are caused because the weather, the humidity is so great, and the heat gets so high, up to 95 degrees, that combined it causes these landslides. And there's also very, very little drinking water. And a lot of times they actually have to hire somebody from these gangs to lead them through. And you can imagine that's pretty dangerous too, right? I mean, to have a gang member leading you through the jungle for 60 miles is not really the safest way to go about it. This is a quote from Jasmina. She said, "You just feel like you're going to die. You just feel like you're going to stay there. You can only pray and ask God to give you strength from where there is none, because your legs are getting weaker. You feel like you can't breathe, that you're going to faint, that you're going to stay there, and nobody, absolutely nobody, is going to be able to help you, because you are in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the jungle." That kind of gives you an idea of what might be going through your mind. And she's a single mother. If she passes away, her 4 kids, they left Venezuela, and it's for nothing. Either they die in Venezuela or they died there. Thankfully, they made it through, but a lot of people don't. And the majority of people going through the Darien Gap are actually kids. And they have to cross through this water. It can be up to your waist. The kids don't know how to swim. The parents have to carry them all the way. This is another picture of all these people waiting in line to try to cross the Darien Gap. They have to take a ferry, which is like an hour-long ferry ride from the Colombian border to Peru. Not to Peru, to Panama, sorry. And they can wait up to 3 weeks to take an hour-long ferry. 3 weeks they have to wait just for an hour-long ferry. How did Venezuela get this bad? Why is it that people are doing such extremes to get out of Venezuela? Part of the reason, you have to start with this man right here. His name is Hugo Chavez. He was in the military in the late 1960s in the Venezuelan army. And in the 80s and 90s, he attempted 3 coups. And so that's where he was in the military. He tried to take over the government forcefully. All of them failed, and he ended up going to jail for his second coup that he attempted. And in jail, he actually attempted a 3rd coup in the 1990s. And then he got released in 94. He ran for president. And then he ended up becoming president in 1999, sorry. And that's kind of when he started to shift the Venezuelan government from a republic. They were a very small government, republic, to a communist and socialist government. And so he tried, when he became president, to make one socialist party. He failed the first time. So he rewrote the Constitution and basically gave the executive power he gave himself way more power than any of the other branches. And so as the executive, as the president, he had way more power than anybody else. And he was able in 2006 to combine all the parties in Venezuela. Kind of for us, it would be like taking the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, making it one and saying, all of you have to believe this, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. And so that's kind of what he did in 2006. He made one socialist party. The nickname for it was Chavismo, because his name is Hugo Chavez. And some of the things that he did where he took the media. There was private medias, you think of Fox News or CNN. He took all of those and he nationalized it and said, this is all run by the nation now. So there was no private media sources anymore. So everything that was put out was by the government. Then he took the electrical companies and he also nationalized it. And so he took a lot of companies like that. The biggest one was the electrical one, and nobody anymore could make any profit off those. You think of business owners who had electrical companies. Now all that profit was going to the government, and they had complete control over everything that was going on. The oil industry, they didn't like this. Oil was one of Venezuela's biggest, it still is their biggest producer. And at their height, they were producing 3 million barrels a day of oil. In one day, they would produce 3 million barrels. That was great for their country. And it dropped tremendously down to like 2 million after Chavez took over. So that's like 1/3 cut. And so they went on strike. And what did Chavez do? He fired over 40 of the top executives in the oil company. And then he fired he imprisoned the top executives. And then he fired 18,000 employees for going on strike. This is his successor. His name is Nicolas Maduro. And he took over. He was Hugo's VP. He became president in 2014 after Chavez passed away. And he completely got rid of term limits. So he can be president for as long as he wants, and he can run as much as he wants. And since he took over in 2014, he's arrested 15,800 people for political reasons. And he's also, this past year, they had a protest, and the police, he had ordered them to kill 46 of the protesters to put it to a stop. Right now, 2.2 million people are in serious danger of starving. That's from WHO, the World Health Organization. And 19 million people are in need of food. And like I told you guys, 7.7 have already left the country, seeking asylum from other places. And so this is basically, to wrap it up, Venezuela's in a really bad state. They used to have a really small government, a republic. Their biggest industry was the oil industry. And now, after communism has taken over, they have one man in power. And a woman, her name is Maria, tried to run against him, and she won the primary election, and he put a 15-year ban on her. So even though this girl won, she can't hold any office for 15 years. And he was just able to put that ban on her. And so this is what's happening right now. Maduro is still currently the president, and people are starving, people are leaving, and they're in need of food. And thank you guys so much for listening to me talk about Venezuela today, and I hope you guys learned a lot and enjoyed it.